Hi, I'm Michelle Fox, and I help mature women understand the changing needs of their skin and make adjustments to their makeup so they can look and feel their beautiful best at every age. And today I'm answering a question for one of my friends. She's wondering what exactly is the difference between a setting powder and a finishing spray. I've heard it before, I've wondered it myself, and we're going to talk about that today. But I went ahead and added one more. I'm going to throw foundation primer into the mix because those three things do similar, they serve similar functions, and yet they are distinctively different. Some people are going to use all three, some people won't use any, obviously, or you might use one or two on the daily and then maybe use all three for a special occasion. So let's just talk about what makes them different, why do we need them, why do we use them, how does it really impact the look that we achieve. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So get excited. I love learning new things, and I'm sure that you're going to learn something new today. As you do, please comment. And if you have something to add, we would all love to hear what you have to say. So, first, we're going to talk about primers. A primer, as the word implies, is getting your face ready for whatever product is coming next. So, a foundation primer is preparing your face to smooth the foundation, well, the foundation of your foundation. It's going to smooth the surface of your skin so that your foundation does indeed look smoother. Your pores will look smoother. And typically, a good primer is going to also have some kind of light refracting property so that the light bounces off in a more flattering way. But the biggest thing behind a primer for your foundation is that it gives the foundation something to grab onto so that it lasts longer. Most people that are big fans of foundation primer are going to say that the foundation looks better, that it looks different. They can tell a difference. I sell a lot of foundation primer. It's one of several different things that we're going to talk about today that can be used to either prep your skin or finish your skin. And I think that it's fine to use all of the products that we're going to discuss, but I also think that some of us will have preferences one over the other. And there may be times where we might want to use all three, but some of us will just use one out of three or two out of three, what have you. So I would say for a foundation primer, if you are really concerned about visible pores, the surface, the roughness, the surface, just the visible appearance of your skin, this may be something that you really want to look into. If you have a hard time with your foundation lasting all day or getting a true color, let's say you were color matched, but for some reason it just doesn't quite seem to stay the right color throughout the day, you might want to try a primer. It's something that I think you owe it to yourself to at least give it a try. So the setting powder is going to come after all of our moist products. So I've already, before I did the primer, I had done my moisturizer, eye cream, all that good stuff. Now I just primed my face for foundation. So I will follow up with my foundation. Then I'll do concealer, under eye corrector. I have a cream highlight and a cream contour. So those are all moist products. So I'm going to do all of those and then we'll talk about setting powder. Okay. All righty. So now we've got all of the moist products applied, and I used a brush for my foundation all over, except in this area here. I have perioral dermatitis, and I don't want that to continue to spread. So I used my fingers to apply that. And then when I did my concealer and under eye corrector, I again used my fingers, trying to keep track of using different fingers than I use down here. But normally I use a sponge. But at the last moment, I realized I didn't bring my sponge with me and I didn't want to stop everything. So that's just kind of an aside, is that I think that brushes and sponges give you a much better overall look and it keeps your hands clean. All right, so now we're on to setting powder. So where the primer was prepping your face. It was giving the foundation something to hold on to. It is sort of covering the surface, making it smoother, making your pores appear smaller. Yeah, making your pores appear smaller. I don't know why I can't say that. So your primer is something that you lay down ahead of time. Now we've put the foundation and other creamy products on top. Your setting powder, as the name implies, is to set that in place. If I were to grab a tissue or something and rub my face, this is very movable right now. The more moist a substance is, the more it's going to transfer. To set something usually does involve putting something drier on top of it, sort of pressing it into that powder or into the other moist substance to prevent it then from being so easily moved. I talk a lot about I don't want my eyeliner to move, so I will set that with eyeshadow. So I might line my eyes with a traditional liner, but then I'll follow that with eyeshadow to set it. So in the same way, we're setting our foundation. Some other reasons why you might use a setting powder would be to take a shine off your face. So your setting powder is similar to a loose powder or a pressed powder. You probably wouldn't need to use both. It is going to absorb shine, absorbs the oil to a degree. That's not its purpose, but I think any powdery substance does. So I don't think that you would need to use a loose powder and a setting powder. However, they are not exactly the same. The setting powder is specifically to set the foundation so it's not moving, but it will take off some shine. So I notice when I go on camera, if I don't have my setting powder on, my face looks really, really shiny, even though in person it might not look that shiny. So it's also, setting powder is similar to a mineral powder foundation, but it doesn't have as much coverage. It's not a foundation. So I've got my setting powder on my brush. I'll tap off the excess. And you can do a dusting motion, but really for it to really and truly set your foundation, you want to do a pressing motion. So it's more like you're pressing your foundation into place. Sort of, as you understand what it's doing, I think this maneuver makes more sense. So instead of like brushing, which is actually going to move it even more, we're pressing it into place. Another benefit of any of those things, setting powder, loose powder, pressed powder, mineral powder, if you follow your liquid foundation with any of those, you're going to have additional coverage. And a lot of makeup artists, when they are doing model spreads and that kind of stuff for magazine covers and whatnot, they will use multiple types of foundation to really get a great coverage. So that is sort of a makeup artist trick. And of course, you want your setting powder. If it has color, okay, that's a whole other topic. If your setting powder has color, you want it to match your foundation. You don't want it to be like a bronzer. You want it to match. There are powders that are translucent that really are colorless. And those are really cool because then you don't have to worry about getting a match. But this one has color. This is a light beige. And then what you can do is use your setting powder now and then take your pressed powder on the go, because I blow my nose a lot because I have allergies. So this will all, get rubbed off. It's nice to have something with me on the go to sort of touch up so I don't have just like a bare spot right there. All right. So this I am going all over. So this will need to be washed, just FYI, because of this over here. Anything that touches an area that could spread germs or, whatever, you need to make sure that you're keeping that really, really clean, or that you're using something disposable. Okay, so now I'm going to put on my makeup. Then we'll come back and talk about finishing spray. Okay, hold that thought. All right, so now that my makeup is done, we'll talk about finishing spray. Finishing spray is the final step, as it would imply, and it is putting a seal on your makeup so that ideally it will look the same at the end of the day as it does at the beginning of the day. I believe this is true. And I noticed it because when I worked outside the home, I would go to great pains to do my makeup in the morning, knew exactly what it looked like in the morning. When I would get home from work and look at myself, I would just feel like, oh my gosh, everything is just kind of faded, not horribly, but it definitely didn't look as fresh. You couldn't tell that I had put so much time into it. But when I use a finishing spray, it looks almost the same by the end of the day as it did at the beginning of the day. It's just a sheer cover basically that is just holding everything in place, and it's so simple that it's a step that I've easily incorporated into my routine. If you only wear foundation and you've used your setting powder, you might not need a finishing spray. But if you wear makeup, I would say it's worth it because it's going to keep your work from fading throughout the day. So this is my finishing spray, and you would just spray it, let's see, straight down and across, and then do an X. And that fine mist will land on your face and dry. It hardly seems like it could do anything because it is so light and sheer. Like my face really doesn't even feel wet right now, just a teeny tiny bit, but it does the trick. So I really definitely use setting spray if I'm doing my makeup. So you got your foundation primer that is going to give you a smooth surface. Your pores will look smaller. It will give your foundation something to grab onto. It reflects the light in a more flattering way. You have your setting powder, which is pressing that foundation and all your other liquid products into place so that they, again, will last longer. They won't transfer. It will take some of the shine off, and it will keep it all day. It just will help it to last all day. And then your final product, your finishing spray, is sort of a sheer veil that sets all of your makeup at the very end to keep everything looking as fresh at the end of the day as it did at the beginning of the day. Similar, yet different. And like I said, if you are concerned about your pores, the texture of your skin, I would definitely try the foundation primer. If you wear liquid foundation, I think you should at least try a setting powder. And if you do glamour your eye colors, cheek colors, etc., I think you owe it to yourself to try a finishing powder or finishing spray, pardon me. So 3 different products. I suggest you try them all, and you'll probably have 1 or 2, like I said, that is in your regular rotation, and then maybe you'll break out all 3 for something special like a wedding. But that's what I have to say about that. I hope you learned something new. If you did, make sure that you like this video and send it to a friend who might also learn something from it. I sure would appreciate that. If you could also hit the bell, that is your notification bell, so that you hear about the next one. And of course, subscribe to this channel, Michelle Fox Beauty. I come on every week and give you all kinds of fun tips and tricks, and not always makeup-y stuff. We talk about all kinds of aspects of mature beauty, and I think that you'll really enjoy being part of that. So thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.